Hey everyone, Genome here, coming at you with my next Marvel Strike Force for Beginners video. Today I'm going to be talking about a rather unheralded character who I think is going to get almost a new lease on life, at least for the player who is not unlocking the latest greatest. As everyone knows right now, X-Men is the flavor of the month. It's incredibly powerful, but the problem is most newer players and most mid-game players are not unlocking Jubilee right now, and without her, that team is just not working. And you probably don't even have a Bishop or an Iceman even, and if you do, they're very low, right? So I wanted to focus a little more on Uncanny X-Men, and specifically how Psylocke work much better now. Psylocke has always been kind of a middling character, right? She's okay in a lot of ways. She's actually more of a support character than a brawler. You know, she used to be on the brawler team sometimes. She has an interesting kit, and actually one of the best character models and animations in the game too, to be honest with you, but she never really saw a ton of play. But I think that's going to change now with the inclusion of another character. And before I talk about Psylocke, let's talk about who the other character is. That's none other than Beast. Before Beast, there really wasn't a way for X-Men allies to heal. And, well, guess what? Now they can. The only bad part about Beast is you can't really farm them, so hopefully I get tons of them in this RTA, but still it's going to be not enough for an extra Tara, but that's another factor. Basically, it all comes down to both his passive, which works better with Astonishing X-Men, don't get me wrong, but also works with X-Men, right? And most importantly, his special. So basically, it's an on-demand heal, and you know, it's not healing a ton of stuff, but this really ties in well with how Psylocke's kit works. More specifically, how her passive works. This is what makes her so valuable. You know, on the spawn, whatever, it's great. She does the evade counter. It's kind of like a wasp kind of thing, you know, whatever. No big deal there. It's nice. It gives her a little extra survivability, and sometimes, you know, the AI is not all that bright, and it'll aim a nuke at her that it'll just completely miss. So, that part's good. You know, she has a little bit of resistance against disrupted. Not a huge deal. It's not nearly enough. A lot of stuff can overwrite this. But the evade encounter is good. Now, what's really good about this passive on the Uncanny X-Men team is this line. When this character or an Uncanny X-Men ally drops below 50% max health, apply evade and counter to them. This is huge. Once they drop below 50%, she automatically throws it out there. So they got like double protection, you know, a little bit of countering and a little bit, and of course evade's awesome, right? What makes this good now is Beast's heal. If you can, you know, don't put this on auto usually with this team, but if you can actually save his heal for after you've taken enough damage that her passive has gone off, you can heal them into the green again a lot of times, and bam, next time they drop to yellow, once again, she's going to throw evade and counter on them. It's incredibly potent. This would work so much better with a beefier Beast, but you know, it is what it is. I don't have it yet, and it's going to be a little while down the pipe. We'll see how they make them farmable. But I think this team is kind of an under-the-radar pick for those of you who don't have the latest greatest and want to use X-Men. Now, I will further say that without Phoenix, though, this team probably isn't worth looking at. Mostly, not just because she's amazing, but it's her passive and all this is just huge. You know, I mean, you can't get away from that passage. So if you don't have Phoenix, this may not be a great team for you, but my new lineup actually consists of Phoenix, Psylocke, Colossus, Cyclops, and Beast. And I'll go ahead and show some footage at the end of this video in a raid that I'm doing right now. It has a Brotherhood, X-Men, or whatever lane. I've been using X-Men. Used to be I used Brotherhood for them, and by the time you get to the third node, usually you're on death's door with the Brotherhood because they got no real mitigation outside of a Magneto and Juggernaut, right? So, and of course, Blob. But, I mean, it starts to run out really quick because of the long cooldowns. Well, this is not so much of a problem for the Uncanny X-Men because it's a passive here, and it's a low cooldown on Beast's special. So this works really well also with Colossus because he gains a ton of mitigation, and he can get healed back up with Colossus many times. I found this working exceptionally well, and in fact, the footage that I got for you for the end of this video, while it's not perfect, I lost my Beast way too early for it to really show it off, but I think Psylocke is why I won that match, because I think her passive goes off 4 or 5 times. It's huge, and for raids, it's definitely needed. It's good. I've also had a lot of success with this team actually in RTA. I mean, it's RTA, what do you expect? But I mean, against even teams. His team has been doing really well, and I've even ran this team without Phoenix. It can still function. Throw Wolverine in there, that's what I have best, but it's not great. For me, Storm has always been on the bench, but I definitely think if you're not using Beast on Astonishing X-Men, that he should definitely take Storm slot at the very least and run with the 4 that I have aforementioned right here, the top tier guys. It's just, I don't know. I think it's given Psylocke a new lease on life, and I think she bears looking at. She has the Skirmisher ISO. I got her up to 3. It's just good. Most of her, she has one attack that's multi-attack adjacent, but most of her stuff is single target, so it just works well playing vulnerable. Let other ones, go in there and steal a buff if need be, or maybe they'll be there next time around, or clear a buff, excuse me. Most of her stuff is rather nondescript, but there's some good stuff to be had. Her basic itself is actually deceptively strong. It's just damage, right? But it's pure piercing damage. Most of the time, it's usually a modifier, like 100% damage and then like 10% piercing or 30% piercing. This one's complete piercing attack, so it actually does a little more damage than you would think it would do. And I don't actually recommend tier 4s on anything on hers. Nothing is really needed. It's all mostly just gravy, right? This is her kind of controller move, clearing buffs. This is a lot like Mystique, but not as good as Mystique's. But it does a little more damage than hers special, so it's decent. It's nothing great, but I mean, it's always nice clearing positive. This is great for stripping taunts, by the way, on non-sticky taunts. So that part's good. And this is what really makes her almost a pure support in my mind, is this nuke right here. Transfer 2 negative effects. This is actually one you could consider putting a T4 on, depending on how high you're going to take her. But this is really good because this is ready to go turn 1, and a lot of times the computer just goes ape with AI and throws everything it has at you, tries to nuke you with everything, and there's usually negative effects going everywhere, and bam, you turn the tables right back on them with this. This is a really good move. It does not do that much damage, It needs another modifier to really do it. That's not what the purpose of this is. It's just so funny, man. You'll take your whole team, all of a sudden will go from a lot of red to nothing on them, but some green, and then that one character you target with this, man, it just turns. It's a really nice thing. It's a good move. Cooldown's a little bit too long on it, to be honest with you, though, but it is good in like shorter fights. So there's that. And her passive, I really don't think you need the T4 in this either. It's nice to have the initial evade, but she's going to give it to herself anyway, and, half the time. And, of course, she's always going to get it when she drops below half health. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I think she is an under-the-radar character who might start getting some more play, because until people get caught up with Jubilee and Bishop and Iceman and Kitty Pryde, basically the whole team, which you got to farm, and Beast, which is almost all unfarmable right now, outside of some blitzes and things like that. I think Psylocke might get a new lease on life, but it does require Beast, and probably is going to actually require Phoenix. So this might be still a little bit out of reach for the newer player, but the big game player should have unlocked Phoenix by this point. So I would recommend giving Psylocke a try, and let me know if you've used her in any teams in the past. I recently bumped her up to this. I don't really have enough gold to be jamming her up to like level 70 and 75. I'd like to actually crank her up more to see how much more useful she gets. But yeah, let me know if you used her in the comments below, what you think about her inclusion on the Uncanny X-Men, and just your overall opinion of the Uncanny X-Men alone. I believe, like I said, they're getting overshadowed now with the overpoweredness of Astonishing X-Men, but for the players who don't have those characters or have them at such low stars, it doesn't really matter anyway. I think this is a good place to turn if you're looking to cure that mutant fix of yours. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Marvel Strike Force content coming up in the near future. All right, well, until next time, this is Genome, just loving him some Betsy Braddock. Oh, and stay tuned for the fights afterwards. Out.
Did you